Ang mga opinyon at pananaw ng mga host ng susunod na programa ay sa kanila lamang at hindi kumakatawan sa opinyon at pananaw ng himpilang ito.
Maupay nga aga sinirangan Visayas, maupay nga oras Pilipinas. Welcome hining aton programa Mark by Word. Yan ang adlaw aton pag-iistoryahan in usang nga pulong nga hapag kitahit iba simple la pero nagdadara ini with serious consequences. Contempt. Ha korte, ha kongreso, ngan bisan ha pampubliko nga diskurso, the word contempt is often thrown around. Pero ano good itong karuyag signon hini nga pulong? Is it just disrespect? Is it disobedience? Or is it something much deeper? Something that can cost you your liberty. Under the rules of court, contempt is not about hurt feelings. It is about protecting the authority of the court. It is about preserving order. It is about ensuring that justice is not mocked, obstructed, or undermined. Pero amo ini itong tinuod nga pakiana. San o nagiging contempt itong kritisismo? When does silence become defiance? And when does power cross the line? And beyond the judiciary, we also examine legislative contempt. When Congress cites individuals for contempt in aid of legislation, how far does that power go? Is it punitive? Is it coercive? Is it limitless? Because contempt is not just a legal concept. It is where authority meets accountability. And in a democratic society, that line must be clear. Diri ni mahitungod hiton mga personalidad nga pipira. This is about power. This is about limits. This is about the rule of law. I am Attorney Mark, and this is Mark My Word. Mark my word.
Bakit natin pahihirapin yan? Katulad ng ginawa ngayon at humihirap na. Talagang, kaya sabi ko, forgive me, but I think impeachment now is an impossible dream.
Igdadanghala ha Korte Suprema ang pirang abogado agod hangyoon nga ipakontempt kay Senate President Vicente Tito Soto III maituro itong mga pahayag hinikabahan itong desisyon na impeachment case si Vice President Sara Duterte. Iginsuman ni Attorney Ferdinand Topacio nga tatapuson panira ito nagsusumiter nga reklamo nga nakatalaan naman nira maghimang raw agod paginginayan itong kabugusan nila nga detalye. Wari man nagsumat ni Topacio kung nirahino pa itong makakaupod niya kumo mga petitioners. Una na nga ginsusna ni Soto itong ruling nga nagdeklara nga unconstitutional itong impeachment proceedings kontra kan Vice President Sara nga kundin iagin doon nga panginlabot na initong gahom itong legislatibo ang ginbuhat ang Korte Suprema. Igin sumat itong mga abogado nga lapos na hiton na sakop ang simpleng opinyon at pirang pahayag ni Soto nga makukonsidera nga kawaray na pagrespeto hapi na kahitaas nga korte.
Maupay nga aga mga kasangkayan. Welcome no to Mark My Word, ang aton second episode no. Haya na nga adlaw no, aton pag-iistoryahan iton usa nga konsepto no ha legal community no and contempt no. Ha nakalabay nga mga simana no. Naging mapaso ang pagkarawat han mga tawo han publiko han desisyon han Korte Suprema kamay kalabutan han impeachment proceedings to a House of Representatives no. By the ini kaso nga gumawas filed by Vice President Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives no. Ngan ang mga reaksyon han tawo han publiko iba-iba. Usa na hi Senator Tito Soto nga naghatag haniya komento nga may kalabutan kalabutan han desisyon han Korte Suprema no ngan may adapipira nga mga abogado led of course by Attorney Ferdinand Topacio nga gusto mag-file in contempt no against Senate President Tito Soto. So yan ang adlaw aton pag-iistoryahan kung ano good iton karog sigon hiniya contempt ngan para hatagan kitan kasayuran uupdan kita no hinusa nga abogado dinhi hariyon 8 no wala iba kundi Attorney Owen Apilado. Mo pay nga aga attorney.
Mo pay nga aga attorney Mark.
Kumusta?
Mo pay nga aga liwat iton imo mga fans ito naton. Mark my word.
Okay. Attorney Owen Apilado usang Professor of Law usang State University no ESU, correct?
Yes, correct,
ESU Giwan and Borongan Campus no usa hiyang Professor of Law pero nakatuig inihiya ngan graduate inihiya San Beda University. Sige, tikagan naton attorney.
Okay.
Sabi ko pa kanina, naging mapaso ang pagkarawat han publiko han desisyon han Korte Suprema may kalabutan han kaso ni Vice President Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives no an iya impeachment no. Usahan mga naging mapaso nga komento ni Senate President Tito Soto no
okay.
Ngan tungod dito Attorney Topacio kaoperatiba nga mga abogado gusto mag-file in contempt case against Senate President Tito Soto no. Now ug sa kita lumusa dito nga istorya ano iton contempt no ano ini nga contempt para lahan kasayuran han aton mga mamaratingan magkirita.
Okay. Iton contempt basically iton aton working definition iton contempt it is the power of the court to discipline whenever there is misbehavior or there is a refusal to obey orders of the court. Amo iton pinaka basic and simple nga definition iton contempt.
So refusal to obey order hiton korte. Ano basaran hini nga gahom hiton korte para mag-contempt?
Okay. In as early as 1950s we have the case of the Arnold case, the famous case of the Arnold
versus Nazareno.
Okay. As early as in 1950s, the court had already said nga iton the power to contempt it is something that is inherent.
Okay.
Correct sigon kapartit kinaiya.
Okay.
May adaliwag kita Supreme Court decision nga nasa ring nga iton the power to contempt kono is something that is essential. Kawaray-waray kinahanglan para iton pagpalakad ito naton hustisya. Iton imo pakiana kun ano iton aton basis dito ito natin constitution, there is no express provision with respect to the power to contempt.
So waray express provision na constitution or bisan hain nga balaod?
Yada kita contempt power rules of court.
Rules of court. Pero aton sa ligang batas waray.
Waray kita.
Okay.
But that does not mean that the power to contempt tungod kay waray dida aton constitution nga waray power to contempt. So Miada damo ito natin mga Supreme Court decision nga nasa ring the power to contempt is inherent.
Inherent hiya, no?
Inherent, karek sigon kinaiya, kaparte hiya iton judicial system
natin. Tungod nga inherent, diri kinahanglanon hin express provision.
Correct.
So na-exist hiya with or without an express grant of this power. Sakto ba?
Correct. So regardless kung may express provision na constitution, the power to contempt is present because it is inherent in our judicial system.
Okay, so inherent hiya nga power no itakon sud nga pakiana may dako nababatian direct contempt, indirect contempt.
Okay.
May dangan gyapon legislative contempt. No haaton pagbalik attorney tatag-usaw-usahon naton inihara ano diferensya hit indirect contempt hiton direct contempt and even legislative contempt. No haaton pagbalik ba kasangkayan kataliwan lahin mga pipira mga pahinumdum.
Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts Arts and Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now. Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for Senior High School, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts and Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 20.
Welcome back hining aton programa Mark My Word. Kanina mga kasangkayan og sa kita mag-break at akon gin-mention nga may ada at nababatian nga indirect contempt, direct contempt, nga legislative contempt. No? So yan na aton hahangyoon ni Attorney Owen nga aton ini himay-himayon tag usa-usahon. Tika nga natin Attorney indirect contempt.
Okay. Iton indirect contempt as an aton working definition kanina, misbehavior o saya nga act, itong contempt usa nga act, misbehavior, indirect contempt in the sense nga an acto and misbehavior ginbuhat outside ha korte. Hagawasan korte.
Oo. And
direct contempt, an acto, and misbehavior, and refusal to obey court order, ginbuhat, hasuludhan korte.
Hasuludhan korte. No?
Okay.
Anong example nitong direct contempt?
Direct contempt. For example, kung ginpapa-appear, for example, to sa nga witness iton korte, tapos diriya na-appear, it's direct contempt.
Direct contempt. Okay.
Iton usual nga example nga natatabo di da korte, usa ka witness nagkaputit cellphone, nagiinuyas, or diri naka-silent iton phone. Usually pag ginsasaway iton court, he may be cited in direct contempt kay an acto and misbehavior ginbuhat hasulod han korte.
Kaya bawal ang cellphone?
For practical reasons.
Okay.
Pakasamok, pakaaringasa.
Okay.
For practical reasons.
So nakakaguba hiya hiton proseso, hiton hasulod, no?
Yes.
Labi na kung tuminog ang cellphone. So direct iton tungod nga hasulod mismo ang proceedings na disrupt.
Correct.
An indirect outside
Of
hagawas. Anong example siya?
For example, miada kita mga kritisismo Attorney Mark nung ginihimo. Example, diri ka paborablehan ginyakan usa nga judge.
Okay.
Ang imo ginbuhat, ang ginbuhatan usa nga tawo nagpost siya Facebook.
Okay.
Judge sugadini diri maaram kun ano sugad. It might be an example of an indirect contempt kay kay an acto and misbehavior ginbuhat outside
hagawas han korte. So to differentiate direct nga indirect contempt.
Correct.
Iniliwat nga criminal contempt, no, may daghapon civil. Ano daw inihara?
Iton nature Attorney Mark, iton contempt, based ito natin jurisprudence is called sui generis, karoy sigon one of its kind.
Okay.
Parang civil hiya nga parang criminal hiya. Criminal hiya in the sense kay iton punishment, iton tawo nga gincite in contempt might include imprisonment.
So pwede hiya mapriso.
Correct, Attorney
Okay,
Mark.
pero diri permanente.
Correct.
Okay.
Subject to the sound discretion iton court.
So kung diri hiya prisuhon, ano alternative penalty?
Pwede hiya tagan him fine.
Fine.
Okay. So we generis siya kay criminal hiya ngan civil in one kind or another. Kay pwede iton penalty, pwede kaprisuhan, so criminal, pwede liwat fine, so civil in nature.
Civil yan is, so criminal and civil
Correct.
in nature. Now, may ada legislative contempt. No, ano liwat inihiya nga legislative contempt, and how does this differ ngadto hiton civil, criminal ba, or direct, indirect contempt?
Okay, ito ang legislative contempt naman, Attorney Mark, no? Balikong ko kanina, waray specific provision ha constitution nga nagra-grant in legislative contempt.
Okay.
Pero hit ka maihahit history hiton aton Pilipinas, iton legislative contempt is embedded in our constitution indirectly through the decisions of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Okay. Iton legislative contempt is the power of the legislative body to cite a person in contempt. Iton usual nga ginagamit didihit aton niya na komunidad didito naton legislative body whenever a person is usually lying,
Okay.
or
Nagbibinuwa.
or diri na cooperate. For example, ginpapa-sworn hiya
Oo.
Senate or House of Representatives diri hiya, or in iya mga ginpipinan niya kan Attorney Mark is mga inconsistent, no?
Okay.
Amo iton
Baga-bagat tagbibinuwa lagi ha,
Correct.
kay inconsistent. So, amitot kaurog nung nasa site in contempt. No, nanumdum lako kung diri pag
sworn.
so I think Vice President Sara before, di ba, gipipil siya, pero pag wala man niya i-cite in contempt.
Yes.
Pero sa ring mo pa, discretion,
Yeah.
no, hiton body nga kung court man ito hiya or House of Representatives or Senate, no. Ano sa di mong example, andiri nabaton?
Yes.
Oo. Na-refuse pag-answer, no.
Yes.
May nabakita ni manunumduman nga panitabo, no, in the recent years, and an example ang mga bagawaray waray baton nga gin contempt.
Oo.
Diri na baton.
Miada iton aton basic yan, iton aton yan na example amuan ni Curly Discaya, Attorney Mark.
Okay, and flood control.
And flood control.
Na contempt niya.
Yes, Attorney Mark. Na contempt hiya, the Senate cited him in contempt.
Oh.
Pero ang gingamit nga rason ng Senado kay ang iya mga answer kuno kay mga inconsistent.
Inconsistent answer. So ginpriso ini. Naka-detain.
Yes. Detained. The right term is detained.
If I could remember it correctly, no, bagat diin niya gidetain, hamuntin lupa ba or ha?
Diri ako nakakainom
Oo,
damit
pero
ng
bagat
Attorney
na
Mark.
issue ini na kung direk nagsasayod, no, kay bagat igbabalhin ada siguro. Pero kasayuran la han aton mga magkirita, may ada mga detention places, no, sa kubiton Senate nga nito, House of Representatives. So pwede ito hera dito i-detain, no. Kung manunumdum kamo, may mga pipira nga personalidad, no, nga gin-detain House of Representatives, no, tungod nga gin-contemptera. I think an usa nga vlogger ba ito hiya, kun reporter ba ito hiya, usa nga news agency, he Celis ba ito na pinido, no, na detain niya. In fact, an kan VP Sara gihapon
Lawyer.
Chief of Staff, no, an girl, oo, na-detain niya hadito adto sa kub mismo han House of Representatives. Si Curly Discaya, I think, Senado ada in hiya
Senado ya.
hiya na detain, no. So amin niya mga kasangkayan iton diferensya hiton legislative contempt. Attorney, ha mga pressing issues yan na, no. He Senator Soto, gusto hiya filean hin kaso, no, haimo pagkita, no, ano ting komento hiton?
Okay. So, balik kita maguti at
Oo.
Attorney Mark, ano. For the context, Senate President Soto nagyakan in his comment about impeachment and resolution Supreme Court in relation to the resolution impeachment ni VP Sara.
Okay.
Nasa ring hiyang with the present resolution of the Supreme Court, the impeachment has become an impossible dream.
Okay.
Magaling kanta, Attorney Mark.
Impossible dream. Oo.
No? Haakon pagkulaw, Senate President Tito Soto, his statement should be taken into account, should be taken from the context. No, may ada konteksto.
Okay.
Nga ang konteksto hini bisan hi ako damo ito na sa ring an resolution han Supreme Court is something that is new. Nya da mga bago nga mga doktrina nga gin pronounce ang Supreme Court hini nga latest na decision ng Supreme Court.
Despite han previous pronouncements sa Supreme Court dumagat na iba.
Correct,
An
Attorney
kuwan.
Mark.
So ano timo an parte han plano ni Attorney Topacio no ano timo komento hiton feeling mo ma-prosper ba if ever i-file no I don't think it-file pa
Yeah.
i-file na
As of now, parang waray pa Attorney Mark kaya pag-file, no? So, matatabo iton, magfa-file hirahin petition to cite Senator Soto in contempt. Tapos
indirect ini kay outside
tapos si Senate President tatagan hin opportunity to make a comment on the petition against him. Haakon personal nga
Opinion.
pagkulaw, diri ako nagpre-preempt, but I think the statements of Senate President Soto was made within the context, within the Constitution.
Okay.
Haakon pagkulaw, diri inihiya, bangin diri ma-cite in contempt.
okay amo ito natin mga pakiana ano may na siring it diri lahi Senator Soto may damo actually
Correct.
an iba-iba ang reaksyon han publiko no mahintungod hining resolution han Supreme Court no nga may kabahin han impeachment ni Vice President Sara Duterte diri lahi Tito Soto damo pa in fact may mga justices gihapon former justices nga nag-comment may ada mga lawyers nga nag-comment
Correct.
no so it iba kasi na sharing freedom of speech no? so where do we draw the line no iton kritisismo nga contemptuous na hiya ng freedom of speech.
Okay, so under iton aton constitution itong tao miyada sinisir nga freedom of speech. But at the same time miyada sinisir kita kailangan pagbalansehon interest iton tao iton niya katungod pagyakan itong freedom of speech nga nihin unprotected speech Attorney Mark.
Unprotected speech.
So iton constitution it gin protektahan iton protected speech.
Okay.
Pero pag unprotected speech na nga niya diri na ito niya kalakip, diri na ito niya buligan freedom of expression.
Okay.
Example, Attorney Mark, iton freedom of unprotected speech.
Diri protektado nga pulong.
Okay, correct. Iton defamatory speeches,
Okay.
Attorney Mark. Libelous, Attorney Mark.
Libelous speeches. Pakaraot.
Pakaraot.
Hiton usa nga tawo. So diri na hiya protected speech do.
Other examples, Attorney Mark, ang mga kabastusan, no? Ang mga kabastusan, diri iton hiya protected speech liwat. So iton Korte Suprema miyada katungod miyada power pagbalanse iton the freedom of persons towards freedom of speech, the right to expression, but at the same time the balancing act nga di naman ang mga unprotected speech.
Itakot pa kaya nato di kaniba iton iba na sa criticism is good. It is normal. It is kumbaga regular usa ka demokrasya. But on the other hand, magpanunobra nga di posible hiya maging contemptuous.
Correct.
Now, itakot pa kiana. Ini nga kabutang ni Senator Tito Soto nga iba pa nga naghatag og komento. Pwede ba hiya makontempt no? Nagawas kasi indirect indirect contempt. Pwede ba hiya makontempt even if na comment na irahan decision kay tapos naman ang kaso?
Correct. So haakon personal nga pagkulaw bangin diri hiya ma-cite in contempt kay Attorney Mark. According to Tito Soto na sa ring hiya nga this has become an impossible dream and according to him he would support for a charter change. His solution was within the bounds of law.
Okay.
Aniya sa ring solution hini pagchatcha kita, di ba? Aniya solution diri unconstitutional within the bounds of the Constitution. Pero kung sumiring nga diri na niya solution was outside the Constitution, ato kita, pag rebel kita. So iton point is Attorney Mark, an iya solution was within the context of the Constitution, which is charter change.
Okay.
Pero
kumbaga kuan hiya intra-constitutional nga solution.
Okay. Pero kung an iya solution was extra-constitutional, bangin contemptuous na ito.
Okay. Wala man niya obstruction of justice. Kaya tapos na kaso.
Yes.
No? Waray disruption.
Correct.
Kay tapos na, no? Decision na lang. Nahatag kala hiton imo komento, imo opinion, imo kritisismo. No? So, amo, kailangan gud inihiya balansihon na kung aanuhon, direct maaram.
Correct.
Pero, very important, no? Itong balancing act ngay himuon hinihit aton judicial system. No?
Correct,
Kay
attorney.
siring pa man iton balaod, no? Iton jurisprudence, di liwat pwede, no? Nga itaton judicial system, itaton mga judges, ng mga justices, nung magpataka la liwat hirahin paggamit hini nga power of contempt, no? Because they might infringe on the right to free speech, no? So amo ito aton barantayan, no? Kung aanhon pagbalanse hinin uusa nga very delicate nga matter, no? Nga ini nga aton contempt, no?
Okay.
So amo ito kapatag hikuan attorney kung nanunumdum ka kan Orly Gutesa.
Okay.
Usahiya nga surprise witness ni I think Senator Marcoleta, no, during the flood control hearing. So investigations sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Di ba nakatuhiya, nag-issue yung affidavit?
Correct.
No? Sworn affidavit. May diya dito mga statements nga nakasurat. No? Pero hakatapos-tapusan, igin deny han nagnotaryo nga hiya ang nagnotaryo, no? Tapos ang papatawag niya balik kung di nagsasayip, waray niya magpakita. Pwede ba inihiya filean hin contempt or iba lang nga kaso pwede i-file ha iya?
Okay. Kung diri hiya ginimbitar hiya Attorney Mark han Senado, tapos waray hiya mag-appear, iton Senado may the discretion whether or not exercise hiya in contempt, Attorney Mark. So, usay ni hiya han sinisaring natong kanina nga legislative contempt.
Okay. Pero sa bagay, kay dili pa man masasabtan gud kung nagbinawiya or dili kay waray man niya bumalik, no? Pero gindinay kasi, no? So I'm thinking, no, kung mapapasok ba yung contempt, no? But anyway, nawawara man rin hiya na bagawari magpapakita, no? So pero I think, no, kung dito mismo pwede hiya ba contempt, no? Kung napatunayan dito mismo ang hearing.
O kasi parang kung pakianhan man hiya dito nga tuod ba nga kinadto kahini na notaryo publiko, tapos sumiring ako madtuhiya, tapos ang notaryo publiko magsaring nga waray ako, so more or less nagbibinaway ito.
Yeah, so pwede hiya dito ba-file in contempt.
Yes.
Attorney, may danasiring, no, nga prone ini to abuse, no, ini nga contempt power, no? Amo nga ni nasiring kita kanina nga kailangan may restraint it paggamit hini, no? But mga iristorya ha kakalsadahan, hasarakyan, no, it public discourse nasiring nga prone ini to abuse, labi na iton legislative contempt, no, kay medyo political hasulod, no? So ano safeguards naton hinin? May daba ini safeguards iton paggamit iton power of contempt?
Okay. Miyada kita Attorney Mark, medyo bago nga decision ng Supreme Court in relation iton the Senate power to cite in contempt. Ang Supreme Court magbutanghin at least 3 safeguards. Okay. First safeguard is that iton hearing should be in aid of legislation. Okay. For any other purpose. Okay. Number 2 is that the right of the ang mga rules, for example, the House rules, for example, or the Senate rules in relation, for example, an Blue Ribbon should be properly published so to satisfy an constitutional guarantee to due process. And number 3 is that the right of the person should not be abused. Okay, so usaliwat ini na example an due process nga katungod usa nga witness nga nag-appear ha Senado. Nanumdum ka Attorney Mark an usa nga witness han I think formally executive during the COVID time gin require hiya nga mag-appear ha Senate. Tapos at some point wala hiya mag-appear, so gin-cite hiya in contempt. Ang mga abogado hini na executive han formally nag-file for a questioning the contempt order nga ginhimo ang Senado. So ang Supreme Court naggawa sini nga mga safeguards para diri ma-abuse ini nga contempt power ang Senate.
Anong decision ng Supreme Court hadto yung kaso?
Ang Supreme Court, Attorney Mark, ang natabo parang gin-release na kasi gin-release hiya. So,
na-detain anay hiya?
Na-detain hiya, Attorney Mark, pero in a way, paggawas ang desisyon waray nahiya ha detention.
So, muted academic.
Mutan academic yeah. But the Supreme Court decided to rule on the decision to educate the bench.
The bench and the bar.
The bench and the bar.
the public.
The public. Nga pagbutang hini nga 3 safeguards. Dapat in aid of legislation hiya, dapat ang rules properly published. Number 3, dapat the rights of a person, the witness, should
appearing
not,
therein should be respected.
Correct.
And one of those rights, sa ko pa ng episode, is the right against self-incrimination. Amot iba, diri gud talaga na baton.
correct.
Iton ira mga so kung diri po baton mag-invoke in the right against self-incrimination, diri ba hiya contemptuous?
Diri man hiya contemptuous, Attorney Mark, kay it is a valid invocation of a right.
Okay.
Guarantee man liwat ito natin constitution that you have the right to invoke.
Pero only those questions propounded nga ma-incriminate. No?
Correct.
May kasi kaurog kasi nga na ato na obserbaran, no. Gitpapakianhan nga ni may mga pakiana kasi nga diri incriminating, and yet iton resource person diri na baton, no. So
Correct.
kaurog asya iton nasa cite ra in contempt, no, na pripriso yara, no. So iton contempt. May nakapag gusto igdugan
So for waray
kabahin hini nga contempt power.
Okay, iton may ada kita Supreme Court decision nga nasa ring that our justices, even judges, should not be onion skin.
Even public officers, di ba?
Public officers dapat diri ko ng mga balat sibuyas.
Sibuyas, oo.
Correct. So kaparte iton era position nga ada good nga i-question iton era mga decisions, sususnan, because the right to dissent is also the power to dissent is also a right. Right? It is also a right. So asya iton nga may ada Supreme Court decision na saying that the power to cite a person in contempt should be exercised sparingly,
With restraint.
with restraint,
With
talaga.
caution.
Correct.
Unless we forget, unless ma-abuse siya, no?
Correct.
For fear nga ma-abuse ini nga contempt power, because this is really powerful, no. Imagine pwede ka magpriso, no. Kung napripriso ha court, ano ka iha? Ha court.
Kung court, Attorney Mark, depende kung hino iton nagsasite iton usa ka tawo in contempt. Kung RTC, I think 2 months.
Okay.
Or MTC, mas habubuhay ito hiya.
Mas habubo. Pero pwede ka di ba nasaring ka kanina, pwede fine,
Correct,
pwede
Attorney
ka
Mark.
prisuhan.
Correct.
Pero pwede both.
Pwede both. Depende iton discretion iton court.
Okay.
But Attorney Mark, iton akon guti experience sa litigation, usually iton judges are exercising the power in contempt sparingly. Usually iton adon mga judges
Very patient.
very patient iton adon mga
Kaya
judges.
dati, no, hanakon litigation practice, no, may ada talaga may mga incidents talaga inside the court, no, labi na kung may emotion na nga involved, nga kakalasan ka na, labaga nagsasaramok na, no. Pero in fairness na aton mga judges, they are really exercising caution and restraint, no. Ginhahalawig nira ira pasensya.
Correct.
Diri la nira maabuso ini nga power, no. Syempre na intindi tawag gihap itaton mga judges, itaton mga justices, so na intindira iton emotions involved, no. Pero para liwatan aton mga magkirita, ayaw liwat ka mo pag-abusan, no. Bakay naman laliwat itaton mga judges, mga justices, mga naintindi baga umabusar liwat kita, no? So kita gihap dapat mag-exercise restraint at emotion.
Usually iton mga judges ginre-reprimand.
Yes.
Usually iton ginre-reprimand iton judges more than anyone else iton mga lawyers sa court.
Correct.
Okay. For example, mastering iton judge nga counsel, please tell your client or tell your witness. Diri direkta.
So it permin award hikita.
Correct.
Iton lawyers it permin award.
Correct.
But anyway, final words, attorney. Ano tim maipapabalo dit aton mamaratingan magkirita hining aton programa?
Okay, iton akon mababalon hining aton mga magkirita kay ikita nga mga tao may ada kita katungod pag diri. May ada kita katungod nga mag-express.
Oo.
Mag-express ito natin mga opinion.
Oo, magkomento.
Magkomento. Bisan nga ni pag-dissent.
Okay.
Ito pag-dissent. Pero
okay, bisan it aton Supreme Court may dissent.
Correct.
Ito ang mga decision.
May ada saying if you put kuno 10 lawyers in a room, you will have 12 legal opinions.
Oh.
So
12.
iton pag the right to dissent is also guaranteed.
Oo.
Pero iton aton katungod paghatag it opinion should be within the bounds of law.
Oo.
Di rin pwede nga magpapaturapak lakitahin pag pinanyakan. Especially kung ito naton ginyayakan beyond the Constitution, extra Constitution.
Constitutional. Oo.
Pagbuhatin maraot, pagsugad ito.
Oh, so iton kritisismo normal no sa kademokrasya, normal ini iton imo katungod pagpahayag it imo opinion,
Correct.
pagkomento no, pero siring pa man ni Attorney Owen kinahanglanon within the bounds of law, pinag-isipan diri laliwat paturapak na amo ang term nga gingamit ni Attorney Owen. Ayan, damo nga salamat attorney han imo oras nga ginhatag haamon, damo nga salamat han pagkarawat han imbitasyon bisan tikang kapahaman nila lumupad ka diretso ganhi
No
kay
problem.
Attorney Camille waray sumugot. Di ba? Attorney Camille of Revilla Flor, ikaw
Okay.
it's sunod.
Next week.
Oh, next week.
Okay.
Attorney Camille of Revilla Flor, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Attorney Camille.
Oo, di ba? Ang yan mga kasangkayan, hinaot unta no nga may nakamo na hibaruan hini nga aton ginhingadayan. Yan ang adlaw no nga unta manumdum kamo no han mga mensahe nga ginhatag gihapon han aton no resource person yan ang aton guest si Attorney Owen Apilado. Damo nga salamat no attorney han imo oras nga ginhatag nga mga kasangkayan amo adto no an aton interview kada Attorney Owen Apilado no nga may kabahin hini nga aton contempt power no kay bagayan na uso na liwat ini nga issue no iton pag sa site hiton tawo in contempt no. So ayan mga kasangkayan, ha aton pagbalik mga kasangkayan bantay an aton word of the day no nga aton paghingadayan no niyan la no mabalik kita kataliwanan mga pipira mga pahinumdum.
Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts in Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now. Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts in Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now. Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts in Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now. Region 8's premier educational institutions.
Balik kita mga kasangkayan, dinhila hining aton programa, Mark My Word. Ha aton pilot episode last week, kapag hingadayan naton an inquiry in aid of legislation. Yan na, angay naton tigamnan nga kung sumunod na nga ni iton inquiry in aid of legislation, not far behind, nag-iikog-ikog iton hiya, iton legislative contempt. No, magkadikit ini nga powers. The power to conduct inquiry will necessarily allow the Senate or the House of Representatives to cite a person in contempt. Ano inihiya? Kung iton Kongreso mag-conduct in inquiry in aid of legislation, tapos iginpapatawag ka no, para mag-appear, para umatubang didto, pero waray ka kumadto or nadiri ka pagkooperar, pwede ka i-cite in contempt, no? Pwede ka pangani hiton mapriso. Itong tawag hiton legislative contempt, no? Siring pan Supreme Court usa nga kaso nga may kalabutan hini, no? Karuyag sigun nimo aadi hin Senate committee, for example, no, conducting an inquiry, tapos papatawag ka para mag-appear, para umatubang didto, pero waray ka kumadto or nadiri ka pag-kooperar. Karuyag sigun nimo, the Senate is helpless to compel attendance, no? Waray na pwede mahimo iton Senado, iton Kongreso, para mapugos ka na umatubang didto, no, mapugos ka nga mag-kooperar. Karuyag sigun nimo iton aton Kongreso, makadto pa ha mga korte para aruon ha korte na i-cite ka in contempt. No, that is absurd, no, nasa ring ang Supreme Court. Here, we go back to Arnold versus Nazareno. Ano ang silingan Supreme Court ito nga kaso? Intrinsic in the grant of legislative power granted to Congress by the Constitution is this power to conduct inquiries in aid of legislation with the process to enforce it. No? Nasa ring dito, with the process to enforce it. Ano ito nga proseso? Contempt. No? That is a process. And in this connection, no, it is necessary for us to know na in general ito nature, ito power to contempt, no, judicial ito, no. The nature of the power to contempt is judicial, no. That is an inherent power of the courts to cite a person in contempt, no. Pero may din exception, legislative contempt. So that is an exception. Kung itong Kongreso mag-conduct in inquiry in aid of legislation, tapos iginpatawag ka, no, para mag-appear, para umatubang didto, pero waray ka kumadto or nadiri ka pag-kooperar, pwede ka i-cite in contempt, no? Pwede ka panganihiton mapriso, no? Kay ano? Nasa rin ang Supreme Court o sa kakaso na iraging desisyonan, no? Ito non-appearance, no, or non-cooperation, no, during inquiries in aid of legislation that will impair the work of Congress, no. Makakaguba ka hiton trabaho hit aton magbaralaod, no. That will really impair the work of Congress. How do you expect Congress to enact good laws if you will deny it the information it needs? Diba? Nasa ring pa ang Supreme Court, aside from impairing the works of Congress, no, natin mga congressman, senador, ito non-appearance or non-cooperation, no, during inquiries in aid of legislation that will violate the right of the people under Section 7 of the Bill of Rights. No? Ano ito yung katungod under Section 7 and Bill of Rights? The right of the people to information on matters of public concern. No? How is that? Nasa rin ang Supreme Court, panundom kita no iton mga members it ato na kongreso no ang senador ang congressman, they are duly elected representatives of the people no ginbotos ito nirahan mga tao, di ba? Deny them the information they need so they can better perform their functions as legislators, you will be violating the right of the people to information on matters of public concern through their representatives in Congress. You will be violating the right of the people to information on matters of public concern through their elected representatives in Congress. So duha ito nit mababiolate actually no ini nga non-appearance nga non-cooperation during inquiries in aid of legislation. It will not only impair the work of Congress, it will violate the right of the people to information on matters of public concern through their elected representatives in Congress no. Siring ko pa kanina panumdum kita itaton mga congresspersons no, they are elected by the people no aton hiragin elect no. So diri ito pwede no. In a democratic and republican state no, itong general rule is disclosure of information, diri secrecy, especially in view of the right of the people on information of matters of public concern under Section 7 of the Bill of Rights, and also that important state policy on transparency found in Section 28 I think of Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution. So, kung diri ra mag-appear or diri ra mag-cooperate no dito hiton nga mga inquiries in aid of legislation, they might be cited in contempt there. Anong tawag nga contempt? Legislative contempt. Now, itpakiana, for how long shall they remain in prison no aton mga isa-cite in contempt ano man kaiha iton kaprisuhan no. Ginklaro niyan Korte Suprema no hakaso ni Balag versus Senate no 2018 case niya. Ano na naboy ni nga kaso? Nagkamayada investigasyon no conducted in the Senate with respect to the death of Horacio Castillo. Horacio Castillo o sa niya nga estudyante, law student no UST, who was a neophyte member of a certain fraternity. No? Hibalag, he was the president at that time no, of the said fraternity. Now, usahiya hadton mga giniimbestigaran han Senado didto hito nga inquiry. And Balag was asked extensively no ginpinakianahan hiya ni Senator Grace Poe whether nakadto ba kuno hiya no at the time the hazing happened no nakadto ba hiya han panhitabo han hazing amo ito ang pakiana ni Senator Grace Poe. Hibalag bumaton na siringiya, I invoke my right against self-incrimination. Nasiring liwat si Senator Grace Poe, no, I am not asking whether you did it. No, diri ako napakiana kung ikaw ba ang naghimo or umapi ka ba han pag buhat hadto. It ako napakiana kung nakadto ka, no? So nasiring Grace Poe, the question is not incriminatory, no? Amon point ni Grace Poe, no? Hibalag diri lagyap na baton no diri lagyap niya gusto bumaton invoking the right against self-incrimination. So he was cited in contempt no dito hito nga investigasyon na priso hiya yan na nag-file Hibalag in petition for habeas corpus no amo ini nga Balag versus Senate. So ang pakiana hini nga kaso amo ini kutob san o it kaprisuhan no kung nasa site ka in contempt no? Because it parameters it aton balaod no as regards to the matter is the parameters set forth in the case of Arnold versus Nazareno. Arnold versus Nazareno na priso gyapin niya didto no na site niya in contempt the priso niya for I think 7 years no kay diri gyap niya gusto bumaton han mga pakyanan senador. Now dito Arnold versus Nazareno, anong silingan Supreme Court? Nasilingan Supreme Court, you hold the key to your freedom. Karuyag signon, magpapabilin ka nga priso nga dat diri ka magkooperar. No? You shall remain there for as long as you refuse to cooperate. No? You hold the key to your freedom. Hini nga kaso ni Balag versus Senate, no, ginbag-o ginmodify han Supreme Court, no, an baton didtohan aton pakianang for how long should a person be detained, no, by Congress for legislative contempt, no, ano kaihaan kaprisuhan, ginbag-o han Supreme Court an ira-ruling dinhi hini nga kaso ni Balag versus Senate, no. Nasa ni ang Supreme Court hini nga kaso that the period of incarceration, no, for those who were cited in contempt by the congressional body is only up to the termination of the legislative inquiry, no. Kutubla mahuman iton legislative inquiry, no, ma-terminate na. Now, iton pakiana, saan o na-terminate iton legislative inquiry? And the answer can be found in the rules of the Senate governing investigation in aid of legislation. Nasa ring dito ang ira rules, no? Na-terminate iton upon the approval or disapproval of the committee report under investigation. Ano karuyag signon hini? Ano ba ang giniimbestigaran, no, at that time hini nga kaso? Di ba hazing? No? Now, ikaw gincite ka for contempt during the investigation. San o matatapos iton nga investigasyon? Upon the termination of the legislative inquiry. No, kahuman matapos iton legislative inquiry. And when is legislative inquiry deemed terminated? Upon the approval or disapproval of the committee report under investigation, no. Tungod nga kada investigasyon, mga kasangkayan, nga ginkakandak iton Kongreso, no, Committee of the Senate or kung House of Representatives, required hira mag-submit in committee report. So, kung na-submit mo na ang committee report, approved man iton or diri, tapos na iton period of incarceration, tapos na iton period iti mo kaprisuhan, dapat ka na pagawson. Ayan mga kasangkayan, no, amo ito na aton word of the day, yan, no, legislative contempt, no, hinaut unta nga may ada kita nahibaruan, no, parte hini nga konsepto nga legislative contempt. Aton pagbalik, no, mga kasangkayan, aton ira-wrap up ini nga aton ginhingadayan nga nga adlaw, mahatag kitahin haligot nga komento nga opinion, no, aton pagbalik mga kasangkayan.
Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts in Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now. Region 8's premier educational institutions, Doña Remedios Trinidad Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated and Dr. Vicente Orestes Romualdez Educational Foundation Incorporated, are now accepting enrollees for senior high school, College of Criminal Justice Education, College of Entrepreneurship, College of Law, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Medical Technology, Department of Physical Therapy, Department of Biology, and Graduate School for Masters of Arts in Nursing. The schedule for entrance examination is every Saturday with the following dates: January 10 and 24, February 7 and 21, March 7 and 21, April 11, 18 and 25, May 2, 9, 16, 23 and 30, and June 13 and 27 this year. Students are advised to visit the Students Affairs Office and look for Sir James. Enroll now.
Yan ang adlaw, aton ginhingadayan ang contempt. Not the kind that trends, not the kind that goes viral, but the kind that carries consequences. In law, contempt is not about hurt feelings. It's not about ego. It's not about power flexing. It is about protecting the integrity of the court. Because when the authority of the court collapses, justice collapses with it. But here's where it gets complicated. Ha demokrasya, di rila kita gintutugutan, kundi ginaaghat pa kita nga sumusun, magpakiana, to demand accountability. So where do we draw the line? Saan o nagiging balaong ang kritisismo? When does dissent become disruption? When does speech cross into sanction? Kinahanglanon ang contempt power. But like all power, it must be exercised with restraint. Because courts do not command respect by fear. They earn it through fairness, through transparency, through reasoned decisions. Nganan mga mulupyo diri nahihikawan hinkatungod nga magyakan ngan magpahayag han ira opinyon simply because they speak strongly. The balance is delicate. Too little contempt power and the justice system becomes powerless. Too much and it becomes oppressive. So itong tinuod nga pakiana dirila was their contempt. Itong tinuod nga pakiana was justice protected or was criticism punished? Hakatapos-tapusan, ang kakusog hiton aton legal system, diri na susukol kung ano kalaksi ang pagparong hiton boses sa mga mulupyo, but by how confidently it withstands them. Ngan amo iton aton angay pamalandungan. Because in a democracy, respect is not demanded, it is earned. I am Attorney Mark Reyes, and this has been Mark My Word. See you next time.